a great analogy that Fear said about giving ammunition, but I think they just gave them the wrong size shells there at the ending parts of the game. But still, I think this game could have gone either way. Like, we saw some of those moments where T1 would be able to wipe Vici Gaming. In most moments, it was where Morphling got blown up in a matter of seconds. And that's how fast the scales of balance basically shifted. It could have been a Vici game all the way. It could have been a T1 game to finish off in the end, but that we saw in that last fight, they were spreaded so wide, they had barely anything to throw in. Morphling has a free time right click, and we know what that leads into. Even the Ana Bear is not strong at that point to deal with it at that stage. So a well-deserved victory for Vici Gaming. A lot of people would have probably said GG when the time they were pushing at the bottom and they didn't have buybacks, but that was a fantastic defense from them. Everything clicked in that team fight for Vici.
100%. I do want to highlight the Ana Lone Druid a little bit more and hear from you, Fear, as a Lone Druid player yourself.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he played really good. Like, he was, like, the top net worth this whole game. This is a rare game where Thompson got shut down in the early game. Vici put a lot of resources into that, giving Ana the space, and he used it really well, got extremely farmed on his Lone Druid this game. The rat potential was really, really high as he stayed in this bottom lane for a long duration, forcing glyphs out, continuously forcing the TP down there, and really prolonging this game. So he played a good Lone Druid. I'd love to see him play it a bit more. Even though they didn't win this game, it was still a good hero for them.
Yeah, definitely potential for it to come out again. But VG on their side, because they did win, Keza, who do you feel is going to be the MVP? Who stood out for you?
I would say in the early game, maybe the Primal Beast, but then in the later stretches of the game, I think both Frisk and BAB had an insane impact with both the Earthshaker, with the, you know, the spell usage, and like, and I also like his item build a lot. He had this Blink Dagger with the Abyssal Blade that came in a lot to help deal with the Lone Druid and also help deal with the supports in the fights. As I have to mention one last time, this Disruptor hero, even though it lost in this game, it's actually looking insane in every game where I see it.
I totally agree with Kezu. Like, both, not just Frisk's gameplay with Shaker was really good, but you cannot say that a specific player, a specific hero didn't perform in this game, but that Disruptor was just absolutely nuts. And T1 also showing the potential of the hero, understanding how to play with a Disruptor, and it just kind of, it was a really good draft for them. But in the end, I mean, I did say something about the lower bracket upset value, so here we have it.
I mean, look, there's still another game to be played, all right? It is a best of 3, so one of these teams, I keep saying it, but it has to be said again, is going to end their run to make a TI today. One more game stands between these guys and going home. We're going to jump to a quick break. When we come back, we'll see how it unfolds.
With our shields and our swords, we pave the path to victory. With our shields and our swords, we temper our courage. With our shields and our swords, we're making history. With those who make the game a reality, we're the Vanguard. We're with the best. Let's raise our shields.
T1 and Vici Gaming, we're going the distance in this best of 3. Game 3 is going to be coming at us very soon. And I mean, neither of these teams want to go down without a fight. And Kezu, what do you think is going to have to be something that either T1 or Vici are going to have to focus on refining to not only not have an almost hour-long game, but to ensure that there is no room for mistakes?
I really think that for T1, something we've touched on earlier is I want them to play more together. Like even in the draft they had just now, which is a Nature's Prophet draft, and having Topson or Tiny, they didn't help each other. They didn't really use their Nature's Prophet. And for Vici, if they get a good lead, also like in a similar fashion, they don't necessarily need to look to play together, but do the same thing, be on the same page, and like don't throw away your lead. I feel like they struggle with that a lot.
A little bit more being on the same page. Communication maybe needs to be upped, but the draft for game 3 is on our screens. Primal Beast being banned away as T1 did have first pick, and then VG getting Tusk and a Morphling. They have faith in that Morphling again, Fear.
I mean, why wouldn't they? The hero's great. Like, I see very little flaws in the hero right now. You pick a morph. If you can get out of the laning stage, more times than not, this hero will carry the game. And I think it's just a safe carry pick right now. A hero, it puts a lot of pressure on the T1 now on like how they want to respond to this. I have not seen any hero in Dota yet where I just see like, that's going to make Morph unplayable. A lot of teams will be banning that AA. So I guess that is available, but Undying AA opening, do you want to do that? Seems a little questionable.
Topson is screaming for AA right now. I think you're on the money. If anyone is gonna pull it out here, you know, other teams will be like, but then our support duo is Undying AA, and Topson is like, nah, boys, chill out. I played mid. Whatever. Never mind. Boring.
Hey, you hyped it up. I was ready.
I thought he was screaming. I thought.
Yeah, we can
He
hear him all the
was.
way
I
over
think
here.
they didn't like it.
Oh, so they shut it down. So Cuckoo shut him down, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's Cuckoo's fault. That's why.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess there's a dumpster fire is burning somewhere for sure. One thing I wanted to touch upon is since the Tusk got picked in the first phase as an answer to the Undying that already came out from T1, is there room for a Sven 5 to counter the tag team off of this this Tusk and maybe put the Undying offlane?
I'm going to assume
What
that
do
is
you think,
not a
Fear?
question for me. I was going to say, I'm not going to answer
Sorry,
that one.
I'm passing
I was
this one on to Fear.
mesmerized by looking at the camera. Can you repeat the question? I was hoping Kezu would grab that.
It's been a long day, all right?
All right, hit me again. What do we got?
Right. So basically, it was about the Undying first pick and the response Tusk to it. Is there any chance that T1 could go support Sven and put Undying into the offlane because of the Tusk being out there?
They could, like, Sven to counter the tag team of, like, Tusk.
Yeah, tag team and then the right-click damage overall. Maybe give themselves like an early game burst of. And I'm sure if Whitemon wants to play or plays support Sven at all, but I feel like it could be an option.
Yeah, it could be an option. The only concern I would have, though, is if, like, what if they pick, like, a Viper with the Tusk against the Sven, right? And then it's magic damage. And there's some counterplays there. It's definitely something they could do. It could be decent. I don't hate it.
They actually getting banned out. They didn't even want to think about entertaining that idea on the side of Fiji. They don't want to deal with it at all. Kezu, anything else that you feel like Topson shouting that could come out for the draft?
It's probably gonna be on his teammates to take over the role now, since he already got shut down. He already has his puck. Vici respond right away with the Void Spirit. Okay, so they're basically just straight up committing the fact that Morphling is carry and Void Spirit is mid. So Void Spirit is gonna be their answer to the puck. I thought they would maybe just pick a 5, but this just shows, okay, we're comfortable enough to just pick our mid now because we see your puck, and we'll make our side lane stronger later by picking the +5 later in the draft to make sure that our Morphling is going to have a good lane.
Oh no.
I am seeing Disruptor still. Oh, okay. It's gonna be Shaman instead, Fear.
I mean, I'm having flashbacks of the Arlington Major, Puck versus Void Spirit. Void Spirit losing every single game to Puck. We're seeing it again. I saw it earlier today. I forgot who was playing it, and it doesn't look like Void Spirit's doing any better in that matchup, but players still believe in this matchup for some reason, and already a bad sign if you're a Vici fan, in my opinion, because more times than not, it's the Puck that comes out ahead in this matchup. But we do have the T1 Venomancer, so even more reason to root for T1, as they have the mid matchup, they got the Venomancer, and this Shadow Shaman is an interesting pickup. It's actually quite good versus the Morphling, just having the instant Hex available, but also the Void Spirit, so a lot of lockdown here, and honestly, this Undying Shadow Shaman is such an old combination. And then now you have Venom, you have like all the wards. Like, I believe it was Kyle who called it like build a tower strategy, where you just drop the Tombstone on top of the enemy tower, you drop the Shaman wards on the enemy tower, now you drop the Veno wards, and how do you fight into that? This is a very snowbally lineup where they can take objectives incredibly easily.
Visage as last pick for VG, T-Panda. How is that one shaping up for them?
5 seconds remaining.
Ooh, that's a that's a tough one. I mean, looking at the idea that they've gone for this aura builder Visage, I would suspect them to get something that utilizes the lifesteal and the right click damage. Maybe something like, I know XM has been the one to play sniper. This is a lineup from T1 that's gonna struggle a bit trying to break through the front line, basically, of Vici Gaming. But I don't think they want to play Sniper as a safe lane carry, because they've usually played it in mid. And
they have room
the
for
Shadow
it? They
Fiend
got
also banned in the
Morph
first lane.
Yeah, they got Morph and Void Spirit already. I don't know if they... And Visage. I don't know if they have room for another core, do they?
True. They probably don't want to go that way then.
5 seconds.
Yeah, the Visage, for me, the way I look at him, he's gonna be like the street sweeper. Like, his job this game is to, like, kill all the wards of the Veno, kill the Tombstone, kill the wards of the Shadow Shaman. He's just gonna be killing all these, like, pesky wards this game. As far as, like, their last pick, I'm not entirely sure. I think they definitely do need... They have all their cores here, unless they do something crazy and put Void Spirit, like you mentioned, on a support role, which they could do, because Sniper looks okay outside of the puck.
5 seconds
Yeah,
remaining.
it's okay, but I guess if they want to go for something more traditional, it's probably something like Lich Witch Doctor, or somewhere between that, Axel. I mean, they don't necessarily want to get Witch Doctor. Don't think they get that much out of the Malediction, considering they have a lot of burst damage and a couple squishies that they're playing against. Maybe something that provides them a bit of extra durability. I would have loved the Disruptor pick if it wasn't straight away banned by T1.
Yeah, I am a little bit surprised that that VG didn't put importance on potentially picking up that Disruptor, considering how well it was played last game. But because any thoughts on some final picks for them, especially on the side of T1? Because you're right, apart from the Undying, which will become tankier later, right now it is looking quite squishy.
I mean, I kind of want them to pick a carry that matches, you know, the strength of their lineup in a way, like where you just have a hero. You're going to have this Venomancer or Undying. I don't really know yet who's going to be the core. I could see some merit also for Veno being core with Vessel, but I guess every time they have this hero, it's just a support. But all these 4 heroes, they want to fight early. So I would want Ana's hero to kind of, you know, join that timing with his team. A hero that can go into this timing, but then also like scale a little bit through the game later. It might not be the easiest pick to start off, because I think this Visage pick from Vici was pretty good. Something that Fear mentioned is that it's going to help you kill the Tombstone, it's going to help you kill the wards. I think also a hero that potentially builds Wraith Pact and or Pipe is very good against this T1 draft, and they end up banning PL. I think that hero could have been pretty good for them.
Is there anything else for you to mind as honest heroes?
I mean, if they want to direct counter the Morph, there's a Drow, but the lane matchup versus Tusk is pretty abysmal. I mean, I was gonna say Bristleback is something that is good versus the Visage, but I don't know if it can carry the game. Yet again, in a position where they have to find a hero that can do well in the laning stage and also carry the game here. Is they banned the Slark's already banned. A lot of his comfort is gone. I wouldn't
still
mind
like
if
the
they
Sven.
Lone Druid, I think, is what I would want to go here for him. Just have that ball up potential, add even more to the play, just try to end the game early. Something along that could be very good.
Vici Gaming's turn to
Faceless Void. Well,
Void. Okay.
not a huge fan of
Well,
that, but it's okay. It's okay. Like, so, like, in this matchup here, like, the Void, he can, you know, backtrack a lot of the harass from the Visage, but that does have a long cooldown.
10 seconds.
Yeah, he's got a
remaining.
nasty laning stage in general. I think there's a lot of threat that comes
5
with this
seconds remaining.
with this Void Spirit and the Tusk roaming around the map trying to hunt for this Faceless Void. I mean, it's gonna be a bit difficult, but you're actually gonna be pretty safe when you think about the Chronosphere. Like, you can actually make some really good plays with it. You kind of enable the rest of your team. Catching Morphling once is already enough. You can also blow up this Winter Wyvern. Could be nice.
And Kezu, where do you feel like VG are going to have to go if they want to match the tempo for T1? And, you know, is Faceless Void that tempo hero that you were hoping for T1?
Faceless Void was the type of hero where I was like, yeah, I think it's good for the T1 draft, but against Vici's early game and some of this laning stuff he's playing into, he's going to have to perform. Like, I think in a very good state for him to have a good game in this game. So it's good for their draft. Not that easy to execute against Vici. And for their pos 5, I feel like there's one route where you can either pick a pos 5 that gives you like a semi-save. I don't know if they've played Venge before. I don't know if it's the best
thinking the
pick
same.
for them or if they still want to do some swap around where you put this Void Spirit to 4, which is what I feel like they will not do. But I feel like this pos 5 pool is a little limited. I'm not seeing a much better option here than this type of Venge where you just end up having a save.
Yeah, and like Chrono counter or classic Faceless Void counter being the Venge would be true. Yeah, I just don't know how the lane, like, is Venge just gonna suffer in the lane a lot? But I was thinking that could be a possible pick for them. I'm also thinking Wyvern for some reason, or Winter Wyvern, could be something for them. Get a good setup with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
They're
against
also
Senseless
going to be...
it could be good.
Yeah.
Now select your
But
hero.
Rubik,
They
they're
both
going for a more
teams
aggressive
practically using
route.
all of their reserve time.
Wow.
Rubik.
So not going for the
What were you
save,
saying?
going for more of the aggression. All of the spells you steal from Shaman are really game changing when you're playing Rubik. It's tons of lockdown. You can steal Chrono in some fights. There's a lot of good spells here you can definitely steal. So not going the defensive route, going more for the offensive route. So very interesting.
Yeah.
I guess
mean,
they're gonna copying T1's playstyle from game number 1.
as exactly what I was going to say. Game 1, T1 brought that aggression. Game 2, you know, it was a little bit longer, very tumultuous, very back and forth. But Game 3, VG decide they're the ones that are going to be trying to run over T1. And Kezu, do you think that's able to happen with this? Where are the tempos laying for the two lineups?
I think, again, the mid lane is very important for both teams. Thompson on Puck, I feel like he might be the game changer in this game, because if this Visage gets off to a good start, then I'm quite afraid for T1's chances in this game.
And what about you, Fia? Who are you rooting for? Which draft looks better?
Oh, I'm not rooting for anyone. I'm just rooting for good Dota here. But I think this Morphling Faceless Void matchup, I have not seen the Faceless Void come out on top yet, so I'm not going to bet on it. So I'm going to go with Vici's lineup here.
All right, very quickly, T-Panda, don't get to explain yourself. A team. That's it.
BG.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Perfect. Let's jump into game number 3. This is going to decide who is going home in this last chance qualifier. It's game 3 with Dan Organaries.
Well, we saw from True Sight what happens when you pick a Rubik in a elimination game. PSG LGD mentioned it with Shinkyu's Rubik in the grand finals of TI-10. But, I mean, who else would you want to play a hero like this? Frisk, previously known as Fade, has probably one of the best position 4 Rubiks out there in Denog. I could not imagine a better Rubik game. Look at all the abilities that he can possibly steal for them. Vici Gaming T1 at Game 3. Like Fierce said, Denog, I just want good Dota.
I want great Dota. Good's not enough because we've already got great Dota so far with that game number 2, and I feel like this game might match those expectations. I mean, like you've been saying, the MVP from the last game in Frisk, he's going to look to do it again, put the team on his back. I was really wanting T1 to go for a Sven. I think it would have been an amazing last pick for them. Just provides so much in terms of protecting the team, the burst, but the Faceless Void, it provides a little bit of that too. You've got some damage to go inside of the Chronosphere, and of course, it is very important to have some of the lockdown to be able to deal with the Faceless, with the Void Spirit, with the Morphling, and more importantly, the Visage, the main hero that's going to be setting the tempo for the early game. So with things as they're positioned right now, it looks like Ana's going to be paired together with Whitemon on his Shadow Shaman, but I was really wanting that Veno to go into the Visage lane just because of what you're able to do. You don't really care too much about the Gravekeeper's Cloak if you've got that consistent damage over time going with the Venomous Gale. So we'll see how it ends up working out with the Shadow Shaman. Of course, you do get some of that damage over time with the Shackles, but certainly not as strong as the Veno.
We'll see how this mid lane matchup's able to shape up. It is a very, very back and forth kind of affair between these two. Like Fish said, I mean, a lot of people like picking the Void Spirit into the puck, even though it hasn't had the greatest amount of success. But it does. There is a stage when you can deal with puck once you get that Yule Scepter, but you are also very vulnerable to a lot of the control. So we'll see what XM can do. I mean, this is arguably one of his more comfort heroes, you know, previously in the days of him playing on CDAC. He knows his matchup through and through, and I mean, we already see he's almost solo killing Thompson.
He's going to go for that
He's
bounty
got
rune.
another Resonant Pulse. Thompson has the Fairy Fire for quiet. XM's just going to body him out of the lane, though.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, that bounty rune wasn't even picked up to the start of the game as well. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if he's going to change about the way that he goes through with this Void Spirit item build as well, right? Because a lot of the time, the reason that you pick this up against the puck is you've got the Yule Scepter with the Aether Remnant for the guaranteed setup that the rest of your team's able to connect in with, you know, a lot of their damage. But I wonder if this game, if he might just consider going like an Aghanim Scepter rush, because when you consider what you're going up against on T1, barely anyone, like, you're not going to buy a BKB on anyone except the Faceless Void this game, and he might even just choose to go like a Manta instead as well. And if you're just silencing everyone on the team, there is 0 damage coming through from T1. It's not like you've got, I don't know, an Enchantress or even a Tusk that's able to turn around and do a little bit of burst. Marcy, similar sorts of things. Whitemon bot side, in a little bit of trouble. Be able to get away, though. I mean, I saw this Shadow Shaman, and it's a good Shadow Shaman game for sure. Like they were saying, they can just look to set up the Mass Serpent wards, you can set up the Plague wards, you can put down the Tombstone. Oh.
Ding might be a bit... Okay, they're not gonna... Sorry, trying to secure the hard cream. There was a Gale out and Cuckoo was moving over, but...
Gang's still a little low here. Has to be
Maybe
careful.
we'll get the kill in the end.
Ooh.
Yeah, not like that.
Not like that. I mean, it's a big get for a Venomancer. You know, you're one of these cores that, one of these supports that doesn't really do a great job of rotating. You're all about just setting yourself up in a lane, and if you could get yourself off to a fantastic start, it means that you're so much more capable of doing that. You can see he's already got the confidence with that extra experience to just continue bodying Erica out of the lane.
We did see previously, though, in Game 2 that even though Erica had a really rough lane matchup into the Nature's Prophet, Morphling has the capability to always catch up. Mid lane, XM, again, bringing Thompson down incredibly low.
Is he going to go for it? I mean, it's Thompson. I was wondering if he might just jaunt there, but still a little bit too early for the puck. Might look to go and secure the bounty rune for himself again with having the lane pushed out. So nice little bonus coming through there for Thompson, being able to double up some of his mobility on the map, as well as not losing too much in terms of farm.
It's a very similar game where we saw in Game 2, both these mid laners have a lot of priority a lot of importance, I should say, on picking up the power runes. Of course, we're not there just yet. Bottom lane, Ana in some trouble. BAB wasn't able to get that second round of the Soul Assumption off. Ana quick on the fingers with the Time Walk. Going to be another game, though, when we need to see the supports rotating to try and secure some of the runes here for XM along with Topson.
It's rough, though. Like, neither of them really want to be able to do it, and a Venomancer rotating has nowhere near the same level of impact as, you know, some of these stunning ones, the ones that can look to go for kills. I suppose Void Spirit's one of those heroes that, as long as you've got, like, a point in the Dissimilate, you're generally able to just get away from a lot of these ganks, but for now, XM, he's just focused on winning the laning matchup and potentially getting that solo kill onto Topson.
Nice block from Yang. Not going to end up ticking up to 2 points into the Gale.
This time he's good.
This time it was a nice shards. I think one thing I've always been impressed from in regards to the China region is their capability. They always like to rotate whenever their mid laner has level 6, and I think this is something you just mentioned. Like, you can't particularly on the Venomancer, well Vici can. So you if your lanes are in a position where the equilibrium's okay, you can definitely consider about rotating Frisk and Yang behind the tower, because with that ultimate from XM, you could definitely blow up Topson or at least force out a defensive coil.
Yeah, I mean, you sure can on Whitemon, but the thing is, Ana's nearly died a couple of times in this bottom lane with Whitemon there.
Erica's in some trouble. They're going to lay the Tombstone down. They can continue the dive. They've got the creeps, and Zephyr's even going to Self as well. Frisk, I believe his TP got cancelled, so they won't have the Rubik to try and kill Zephyr. Now Yang, he's overset the mark a little bit. Was expecting the Rubik to get involved, but instead, it looks like he still ends up dropping. So we got some kills across the board. BAB kills off Whitemon, and Yang does still bring down Zephyr as well.
I mean, that's kind of what you have to commit, right? You put himself a little bit further forward to be able to cancel that TP and ends up paying with his life on Whitemon. Death probably shouldn't have come from Zephyr. He just ended up taking, I think, 3 different tower hits with not being able to swap the aggro. Will get double bottle refill if he wants it, though.
XM's going to get his own refill as well. So the kills on the side lanes will enable the supports now to rotate. Look at the importance in XM. There's the level 6 advantage. Doesn't have too much mana, so Frisk's going to give him a main go, but Topson gets his own 6. Resonant Pulse going to buy him some time. We'll see if they got the magic damage to go through the Void Spirit. Shaman's going to hold him into place, but the telekinesis will cancel that. Instead, XM, he just jumps in. Why not go for the kills instead of going for the power rune? As XM, with the help of the support rotation from Vici Gaming, will find a double kill on the river.
He'll even be able to snatch away the bounty rune as well. That's the advantage of having this Void Spirit there, right? With the 3 points of the Resonant Pulse, big rotations just means more of that absorption coming your way.
So it means that BAB is having a free time down bottom, and I really think, like Kesu said, this is a game-winning pick. I think there are some issues with your lane matchup into the Faceless Void, like Ana will have a pretty good time, but you address the Shaman incredibly well, who also addresses the Void and the Morphling, which is going to free their game up a little bit. They don't particularly deal with the push at all, so I think BAB is going to be a big reason of why Vici Gaming can potentially take this game.
Now, I have to say, I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that Cuckoo's been copping a lot of shit throughout his performances so far, but have a look at the net worth this game. He is doubling Erica's net worth on this top side, having a fantastic time and confidently just trying to deny away this entire creep wave. Yang might be forced to try and secure a few of these last hits for himself, but I mean, if you go too far forward, you're going to get denied and potentially still end up dying. I don't know if you can go for this kill. Cuckoo's just way too farmed right now.
Topson mid lane. Cautious Frisk. Oh, he gets a telekinesis. So again, Topson forced to use a defensive coil. Is going to be able to sidestep the Remnant. Another round of the Astral Step from XM. He's actually going to jump onto the Puck's location instead of waiting for the Jawn. A tricky play to make. Puck always has that advantage, being able to go either way.
Oh, it's so close, though. They're playing on the edge. Topson, I wonder if he's asking for a few more rotations because of how much they're emphasizing on Vici this mid lane. Doesn't look like anyone other than Whitemon is in a position to be able to help him out, and they're also pinging out the fact that you've got a Rubik to the right-hand side. Looks like they're going to secure that DD rune for XM. You can't afford to go for it, unfortunately.
So this power rune now on XM enables him to rotate top, especially with a double damage rune. I don't know prior if they would have been able to kill Cuckoo's Undying.
They're pinging
but
it.
Now I think he can. Now I think he can definitely rotate. And well, he's going to go for Zephyr instead, as Yang having a 1v1 at the moment.
They see him.
Trying to at least hold Zephyr into place as long as possible so the rest of Vici can start to show up. will not be able to TP out, of course, with the adapted strike, and Eric is actually not going to continue the chase. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Thompson, well, he's going to make his own rotation. They're on to BAB. This is a big pickoff if they can find it. Slowing down the Visage's game is incredibly important, and they'll do just that, not even requiring the Chronosphere and also getting the Familiars.
Some free gold as well, yeah. Coming from the Familiars. Ooh, will they be able to finish it off?
Nice.
Very nice coming through from T1, and that is all of their early game tempo, right? Void Spirit, great at being able to gank and great at surviving in these big team fights and providing a lot of disruption. Still not 100% sure exactly about how XM wants to go about building. Doesn't have anything queued up just yet. But I still feel like that Aghanim Scepter could be worthwhile.
So again, that was a really big advantage that Vici were playing with, and the fact that Thompson rotates and gets a kill. So now he's second in net worth, and you see the Void Spirit. Like, this is someone who really does have some difficult times at being able to keep up in net worth if your rotations do not pay off.
Yep. It's the power of vision, right? They just de-warded what they had previously, but that Observer Ward paid dividends. It allowed Zephyr to make the rotation away. You caused 2 cores to follow you, and then you just TP out. You get the kill in exchange onto the Visage. You get the Familiars. You prevent your tower from being under threat. Like, big wins coming through here from T1, and Zephyr, he's even able to make the rotation to potentially help out with these 10-minute power runes.
Gonna have the numbers advantage at the moment here from T1. Great use of the Hex. They might target down Whitemon instead, and well, yeah, they definitely will as soon as Thompson jaunts away.
Instantly
Was able to
goes
at least
for the invis, though. Wonder if they're going to look to make a play onto this Morphling who's farming up inside of his own jungle. They've got an Observer, but they don't have the Sentry available.
Jen gonna... Oh, smoke there, he should know.
They just caught him. Oh, that's so close, man.
So Thompson's still nearby.
He's going to back off completely. But, I mean, again, look at Cuckoo. He's completely taken over this top side of the map. You've got the creep wave with the siege creep pushing into the tower. He doesn't even need to right-click it. He's just going to extend that net worth lead even further.
Cuckoo's getting completely out of hand, and counterpart here, BAB also looking to try and take the bottom tower as well. They've got the catapult timing and the familiar, so it does look like either side are going to be able to find their first T1 tower of the game.
Oh, I don't know. Ana's going to TP up. I was wondering if they might look to commit, considering you'd already dropped the Mass Serpent wards. You're probably going to be able to secure that one really quickly. But instead, T1 looks like they're keen to set up inside of the Vici Gaming jungle. Enable much more space to Ana to farm.
They built up quite a net worth lead here. A targeting claim will drop it down to only 1,000. See what T1 can look to do. Are they going to consider about maybe trying to pressure this T1 tower mid, or are you really waiting for that next Serpent Wards to think about the next objective?
I think you do need the Serpent Wards still. I mean, the thing is, I feel like you want to enable Ana to be able to take these towers outside of the Mass Serpent Wards, but you're just not there yet, right? It's way too early into the game. So maybe once he gets a little bit more value out of the Midas, once he gets into the Maelstrom and you can push out waves a bit easier, even the Mask of Madness potentially, that's the timing that you can look to go for that sort of play. But for now, you just got to wait for the Shadow Shaman, unfortunately. Oh, they're pinging him out.
The Midas.
Thompson's coming with the haste, with the Dream Coil. Whitemon backing him up here.
Kill. Oh, see the T2 tower. It's going to break the coil instantly. Is he far away to the right side where Whitemon won't be able to enter? And it looks like that's the case.
Nice movement.
So,
good defensive understanding. Only using one TP as well onto the Rubik. Not actually committing the one on Yang there. He was just roaming around, realizing that his role this game as the position 5 is to scout out a lot of these ganks. And, well, they're going to see where Ana is as well. No stranger to being set up on this top side, especially considering the tower's gone. What can they go for this? Yeah,
he's going to be in trouble here, Thompson. Beautifully done. XM, this is the answer. Early game can prove to be a bit of an issue here for the Puck. To get to the later stages, but you might have at least one defensive item. This is even without that Yule Scepter.
You just see how much more of a challenge Cuckoo has of dealing with these multiple units, right? The Familiars, the Visage, don't really care all that much about the Decay, even with it maxed out. His very heavy net worth lead over the next core is just evaporated because he's not able to just set up in a lane against a hero. He just has to deal with multiple now and lots of these different little units. If they can catch Yang, this would be big. They really want to open up that mid tower. If they can do it without dropping the Serpent Wards, that'd be even better. But they might be forced to. Still looks like they're going for the pickoff, though.
I don't know if I can defend this tower. If Serpent Wards and Tombstone are laid down, I think they will very much struggle.
They're going to wait until they get that next creep wave, but that just gives the time for Vici Gaming to be able to come back here. Yeah, they're just trying to start setting up a few of these Plague Wards as well. But BAB realizes how important it is to not let the Venomancer establish that territory. It's been happening consistently. A lot of people are memeing on the T1 Venomancer, but it's got a 60% plus win rate for them so far.
Smoke up, T1 unable to crack mid. Vici, they're going to mirror this. Look at this, either side. Pretty on point with their initial move. Expecting where the carries are playing.
This is where the communication needs to come out. Ana, time walk forward.
Uh-oh, Ana's in trouble.
They found Morphling too,
he
though.
gets the initial stun. They're going to be able to follow up. Plenty of lockdown to bring him down. But meanwhile, on the opposite side of the map, T1, they will also be able to convert on their smoke.
You would have to say that it's a little bit more important for...
Yeah, B mid lane as well. Coils out. No hesitation with the use of the Poison Nova. TPs is starting to come through. They will end up losing the life for BAB. And they catch up to Yang, however, is actually got a snowball into the middle. Has some familiars to play with.
The stun.
But the rest of the team, they're not here. Yang's going to try and chuck up Zephyr into the air, but the damage is not enough for just a toss. So a great play from T1. The sequence of events from them, killing the Morphling, and then taking a team fight under the tower where you can get usage out of the Serpent Wards for the kills and also the objective.
I mean, the fact that they didn't need to commit the Dream Coil to kill the Morphling is the bigger deal, right? It means that they can use it onto that valuable tower. They can open up the map. Ana can start to get more value out of the Midas, farming a bit more greedily. It's very clear that they're just going for this 20-ish minute timing where they can look to push forward, probably level 2 Mass Serpent Wards at that sort of time. They're just going lane to lane, tier 1 tower at a time, play with the siege creep, see what you're able to do to open up the map and make life a lot more difficult for this Morphling.
We see is just continuing to stalk. This Thompson and Whitemon's always going to be a difficult game for Erica. I mean, it probably will be forced into a Lincoln's as his maybe second item. Make an attempt onto Thompson. They know the orb was used prior. Might be an opportunity for them to secure the kill. Again, a defensive use of the coil. Whitemon stepping in. They get the control ball for the attribute shift. Thompson's going to jump back in for the fade ball. Oh no! High risk, high reward play, but it'll be Vici Gaming that comes out on top. And back to the river. They're also making another move. They're on to Cuckoo. The shot's just shy, but it gave them vision to follow up with the snowball. And Vici, they're on the prowl. They want to get another kill, and they'll easily catch up to Zephyr as the 8th rem then drags him back into Vici's kill.
Oh, high risk, high reward is the perfect way to put that one. Imagine if they were able to turn that one off. Even when he was mid-illusory orb, he had a healing salve going while he was in the int treads. So just trying to find maximum efficiency out of that from Thompson, but it wasn't enough. Frisk again, just with that pesky fade bolt, maxed out, wanting to get it and slam it straight into Thompson.
And they're looking to play though down bottom. Thompson really wanting to try and shut down Erica as best as they can. Look for a TP. They know exactly where the Morph is, but they don't have the ways to counter him.
Okay.
The Morph will make it out, and Frisk will not be so fortunate under the tier 1 tower. Mid lane, though, the AP gets a kill onto Zephyr. Ana wants to step in as well with the threat of the Chronosphere. They've got some damage over time thanks to the Gale, so Ana will have no issue with going through the Gatekeeper's cloak.
Nicely done by him. He's got that Midas.
Not the worst, though.
Good value being obtained out of Ana, though. I mean, if you just have to look at the net worth disparity between him and the Morphling, and you can tell that T1 are going to be fairly happy with this. I'm kind of surprised with exactly how farmed XM is getting here. This is a Void Spirit that, like you mentioned, can fall off pretty damn quickly, but he's at the top of the net worth charts right now, 3-0-4. And more than halfway towards that Aghanim Scepter that I mentioned was going to be enormous for their upcoming team fights, because there are no BKB buyers coming up very shortly for T1.
It's interesting. It seems like XM's kind of been playing his own game at the moment, like putting a lot more importance on his own itemization instead of looking to get kills. Vici feel like they are just wanting to try and farm instead of slowing down T1, because we see the opposite. Like Thompson is really trying to catch out Erica wherever he's positioning as Vici with his deep ward place, they know exactly where Arn is farming. Oh, he's going to time walk into them as well. And with 3 heroes nearby, there'll be no escaping on the Faceless Void. A great movement from Vici that was all set up to the previous ward placement.
They're trying to get something in exchange, though, BAB. They have to make sure that they've got the boys.
Not going to be an easy kill. Close to the T2 tower as well. They need to address the Wraith Pact. It's relatively survivable. Yang doesn't have mana for the Snowball, however, so they're even forced to drop the Serpent Wards. Get the kill and the Familiars.
Okay, it's an important kill. Again, they've only lost they've lost 2 tier 1 towers, I suppose, and XM doing another good job of pushing in that top wave. I mean, that's the thing with Ana's death, right? There's a reason that he's able to farm so much faster than a lot of people. It's because he pushes the limits.
Cuckoo.
Yeah, but
see if they're going to be able to bring him down. This is a beefy man. A lot of damage coming out. Cuckoo doesn't have the greatest amount of armor, so with Erica, all the IG needed to pump in the right-click damage, and now Zephyr's also caught out. The shard placement from Yang blocking the escape avenue as Vici Gaming hit back again. It feels like we've got a back and forth here. T1 get a couple of kills, and Vici get a couple of kills, and back and forth that goes the pendulum swings.
absolutely. I mean, Whitemon, he's been saving up his gold as well. He's obviously got the 8th lens queued up, but could very easily just go into that Blink Dagger with the Morphling still quite a ways away from being able to pick up that BKB, so you can even afford to get the use of the shackles off super reliably in a lot of these team fights. So they're giving them a lot of freedom.
This Observe Water, the Triangle is scouting out. They're going to see them in the lane now as well. So Vici get confirmation that Whitemon, along with Thompson, are potentially baiting Ana. They've got the Chrono, so T1 are ready. We've seen time and time again that Vici want to try and slow down Ana, but Vision is enabling them not to run blindly into the Radiant members.
It's the power of information. They smoke it pops, and they're going to go in.
He's got the Manta though, might catch him off guard, he can get rid of the Sans. Instead, Frisk jumps into the middle, but XM with the Aghanim Scepter, AoE, Sans, they're all grouped up! And they're all gonna pay the price as Vici Gaming find the puck, but hang on, Ana lived! He got the Chrono onto 3 with the help of the Poison Nova. Vici Gaming are in shambles as now Erica, trying to survive to the northern side, has the waveform to get some distance as well. Vici Gaming, they've still got some members nearby. They're going to hold back Cuckoo on the Undying. Can they bring him down though? With BAB showing up the Familiars, the damage is starting to rack up as Cuckoo, completely isolated, and Vici will end up winning out in the skirmish.
Ooh, what a turnaround from Ana to be able to get that 4-man Chrono off, preventing the Rubik from getting a lot of those steals off in the middle of the team fight, but Frisk still able to come through, get the lockdown needed onto that Undying, and even the Venomancer, that Poison Nova really starting to come into the equation. Those beefy heroes, the damage over time, fantastic against the Morphling. It means that you can't really strength attribute. You're just going to start ticking yourself with more and more damage with the percent. Even got that strength morph off, otherwise potentially they could have looked to fully commit in here. What a reveal of that Aghanim Scepter though, coming through from XM.
Might have to go back live. They moved over to Ana. Let's see if they're going to have the damage. XM in and out. The Astral Step not able to bring down Ana. As Whitemon's going to try and catch up. Thompson has got the coil. The rest of the team need to get nearby to protect XM.
Frisk again.
A stolen coil from Frisk. It'll help them kill the Shaman and also cover the retreat. Beautifully done from Vici. The reactions to instantly move over. No hesitation to try and help the ganking duo of Vici.
Frisk is just doing so much. The instant steals in a lot of these team fights, just completely turning things around, saving the cause, and making sure that they're able to keep that momentum, keep that map control up for themselves.
This is high level of Dota. You wouldn't expect it any other way, but T1, they're able to scout that out with the ward placement down in front of the T1 tower. I feel like I've brought up a lot of wards this game, but this is expected when these two high caliber teams understand all the movements. And well, let's see if T1 are able to read this, because Vici Gaming, they're inside the pit. Looks like they won't come to contest it.
They can't. No Dream Coil. They don't really feel confident in just putting Venomancer out there with his body, with the Plague Ward. You can tell that he's tempted. Might look to try and set it up on their own side of the river, up on the cliff, but in terms of protecting Roshan, just not going to be able to.
And it looks like it's another back-to-back game where Erica has been able to recover. Didn't have the greatest land at all, falling behind net worth, but he's only 2,000. Make it even under 2,000 gold behind Ana.
Just looking at some of these next key items that you've got going for them. Shadow Shaman, he's got the Aether Lens available, so he wants to stay on the outer portions of these team fights, preventing the Tusk from necessarily getting that save off. But, I mean, you're up against a Rubik with an Aether Lens of his own and nearly into the Blink Dagger with how many effective team fights Frisk has had, so you're always going to be able to get that counter play through.
Radiant's top tower
In the
is
ward.
under attack.
Scouts out Erica TPing down. They're going to scout out Frisk TPing down. Vici Gaming looking to try and get usage out of the coil, but T1 will avoid this area. So now they can go look to play top. Mid's already going to be shoved out. And Thompson's addressing with this lane as well. See Zephyr in the river. Yeah, B is going to need Yang to start. Of course, the Tusk has the blink, but a little bit too far away. So it's going to be up to XM. But hesitant is the Void Spirit. Of course, doesn't have another defensive item. So if he ever uses the Yule Scepter, always has to be cautious of the positioning from the puck. But a 4,000 net worth lead on Vici. Still feels like their lineup. Do you think Vici might have issues as the game goes on in regards to their team fighting?
Oh, I don't know. A Tusk late game, a Rubik late game, a Frisk Rubik late game, I think is never going to be too much of a worry. The thing I really like about what Vici Gaming did there, they made that rotation. It was scouted out, but they still start to push in this tower. And it feels like wherever T1 has looked most effective is when they can do exactly what they're doing right now. Set up all of their spells around an objective. The past few ones that have happened have been around cliffs, around high grounds, around choke points. And that's really not what you want against this this XM Void Spirit in particular. Right? He just jumps in, gets so many of those heroes caught inside of the silence from the Resonant Pulse, but instead, you just got to let your units do the work instead of your actual heroes, and, well, T1, they're going to be able to claim that tier 2 top. The lanes were pushed out relatively effectively by Vici Gaming, but it's still not enough.
There's some big items starting to be worked on. You've got the Scepter now, which pretty much is... I mean, this is going to be big issues for Arna to deal with. He actually has to go for a Linken's, and it looks like he does have it queued up. Any agility core is really going to struggle into this Scepter, so I like the read from Arna. We also see BAB's going to a Hex as well, so you can catch out the puck. That's going to force him to itemize defensively. Potentially, if Arna's Linken's popped as well, then he could be caught out. So there's going to be some big items to turn the tide.
They're keeping the pressure up, though. They're saying, look, we've got plenty of ways to defend the high ground. It's much more of an issue for you with our net worth lead, with the Aegis. We're the ones that can be affording to play on the front foot. We've got 2 towers pushed in, and yeah, I mean, with that Aghanim Scepter as well on the Morphling, he just wants to force T1 to come back to them. No Mass Serpent wards. You can't really set the Tombstone up in an aggressive position. Needs to be dropped mid-team fight, and by that time it might be too late. Look at this. Just let the illusions do the majority of the work. Let the familiars do it, and well, they're eventually going to TP back, but tower's already gone.
Yang showed mid.
Okay.
What they want to do with this here on T1. Oscar's a lot of the defensive factor with the Blink Snowball.
Instant steal.
Oh, nice steal from Frisk, and the familiars as well to cover the retreat.
So big commitment being used. They're just going to wait out that Tombstone, perhaps see if someone goes a little bit too deep into the lane. Use the Morphling with that Aegis as bait. But T1 know how much stronger they are when they're able to fight around where they can get set up. And so they just are going to feel a little reluctant to go outside of the base. Got the Blink Dagger on the Rubik. That might be the big reveal that catches them off guard if someone goes too far forward. Even a couple of steps outside of the base, and the protection of all those Plague Wards could mean the death of them.
Is this an opening, you think, for Vici with all the abilities used from Cuckoo?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you could just set up your own Tombstone, then suddenly you're not worried about going into like a meat grinder sort of situation. But seems like they're just going to respect it. Again, elimination game. Loser of this goes home. Winner moves on to the top 4 of the regional qualifiers. And you got to remember, only 2 are going to get through to the real TI group stage, just a few days away.
So they push on. Vici Gaming looking to try and maximize as much as they can with the Aegis. Is about to expire though. So second life, not available for them. Great way to be able to counter a Faceless Void Chrono. So we might see T1 look to try and smoke. But again, like you said, they need an area to be able to take a fight. They need a choke point.
They do, and they need their Tombstone.
Same with the DD. They're going to jump instantly onto Zephyr. Shouldn't have to force too many abilities out to secure the kill. And now, I mean, this could be the opening for the high ground.
Yep, no one's set up.
He's got the jump into the puck. XM's going to be able to follow up as well. Thompson. Oh no, the vision from the tombstone, he wasn't ready, as all they needed was one stun, and XM was nearby to have the extra silence.
Yep. This is the sort of play that you need to be making. Ana just trying to get anything out that he can on the map. They're pinging him out now, saying, well, you got to be careful. They might look to rotate back, but there's really no reason to. Puck is a big part of their team fight, preventing Vici Gaming from being able to run away when they do get all of those abilities set up. So while he's in the grave and while he's showing that he doesn't have that buyback, you've got to keep on moving.
Dire's top barracks are under attack.
10 seconds left. Gonna try and get rid of the Wraith Pact, and, well, they'll only lose the one lane, but doesn't put T1 in a great situation.
Oh, it doesn't. Not at all. 8,000 deficit. A 20% probability for Radiant at this stage in the game. Who do they need to bring down in these fights? You mentioned about like kind of choke point skirmishes, but who is that ideal target that has to go?
I think it's got to be Void Spirit. I think he needs to be the one. Like, he just provides so much control, so much panic. It really prevents the Venomancer from moving on forward. Zephyr, by the way, he's picked up that latent toxicity on the Venomancer, so for him to get into the middle of a team fight's big.
Hobson's gonna jump. They see BAB and Vici gonna smoke on the back. Tombstone already laid down from Cuckoo. They're gonna try and blow up Ana. Oh no! The burst is too much. Ana can't survive. He gets no abilities off. Maybe Cuckoo and Thompson, can they do a miracle? Can they turn the fight around? Cuckoo's trying to move in, but Vici Gaming, they've got other answers. They're too far ahead. Thompson will try and slip away to the north, but they've locked onto their target. There'll be no escape for the Puck as Vici, all they lose is BAB.
Such a heavy commitment, and yeah, you mentioned it perfectly. No Chronosphere, no BKB. It was just the perfect chain control coming through with some of those Blink Dagger reveals, particularly from the supports, just able to instantly wipe him off.
Oh my lord.
At least he can set up a few of those wards, right? Defend against some of the high ground push that's eventually going to be coming. Vici Gaming are going to test this one out. Normally you would love to have the Visage there. He's level 16, so he's got that armor corruption, but won't do you much good in the grave.
And this is really starting to get to some scary territories here for T1.
Here we go. We have a look at it all. Just the scouting out. They have decent vision. They drop the tombstone. They have everything set up perfectly, but they just find the pickoff. It's all about the supports on Vici Gaming. They enabled that team fight incredibly heavily.
Yeah, they didn't de-ward instantly. That was the big thing. Dire's ward was still on the high ground. It took them just like 1-2 seconds to get rid of it, but that's all they needed from Vici to see Ana starting to path his way into the team fight.
Vision, 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 and Yang and Smiling, name a more iconic duo. He is feeling himself, especially if he's able to make plays like that. We're used to the Frisk Tusk, and, well, it shows that they don't necessarily need to have it locked. They're going for another one. It feels like going for broke here.
Yeah, look how close Ana is to 20, though. This is a big talent for the Void. They won't have it now for this team fight.
Oh, Cuckoo was about to drop the
Smoke's
tombstone.
gonna pop as well. Oh, it was out. Not the easiest person to bring down with the Wraith Pack laid down. And look at Ana, he's worried. An instant use of the BKB. They should be able to deal with the Visage without committing too heavily. But Thompson, he's killed off on the other side. And T1, they've got to get out. They need to cut their losses, but Ana won't be able to make it. Yang's there. He's always there, ready for the punch to stop the teleport. And meanwhile, Whitemon, he's also caught out. Trying to hold Erica inside the Serpent Wards. Cuckoo will just escape. Vici Gaming, another fight, the exact same position as the last skirmish, and once again, they'll come out on top.
And it's right before the Roshan respawn as well. They just will themselves to win these super crucial team fights around the key objective. That's the quality that makes LGD the team that they are. They manufacture these situations that put them into a winning position, and they hit all the conditions that require them. They had their vision up. It wasn't de-warded. Instantly go for the punish. Hit the timings with the Blink Dagger on the supports. Use them immediately for that quick lockdown. And you just saw that time around, Ana, super early pop of the BKB as well. He didn't want that similar situation to be happening.
Yeah, there's some PTSD from Ana, just making sure they weren't able to blow him up, because we saw prior, whenever he was inside the middle of the fight, XM and Yang, they just went straight to him. Didn't matter about anyone else. Tunnel vision onto the Void, and well, now this is Roche given over. T1, they're alive, but they're way too far away, it looks like. Oh no. And second life, Danog, that is one of the biggest ways to counter a Faceless Void.
Even just the shard over to the Morphling as well. It's going to do so much. You need silences most of the time to be able to take out that Morphling, and really, it's only on tops, and they're going for it again.
XM?
They have to try.
XMs? We're trying on T1. Following that creep wave mid, smoked up at XM with the Aeon Disc ready to be activated. It's not going to be an easy pick off for them, so the smoke will not pay off. Maybe they can get some wards down to set up for a further fight, and they're going to do just that by the bottom outpost.
You mentioned that level 20 on Ana. Well, he's been able to claim it now. He's got that extra attack speed during the Chronosphere, but it does really feel like a much bigger nerf than just that 25 attack speed that it got with the nerf. With the Mjolnir, it's kind of there to be able to make up for it. They need lots of those little bits of damage over time to be able to take care of the familiars, the Gravekeeper's Cloak, and it does feel like they're a little lacking in damage on T1 side, doesn't it? The pickoffs don't seem to be connecting.
Oh, they don't at all. So you're at the stage where it's just split push. We saw in game 2 what they were able to do to completely avoid the Aegis. I think it was game 2. Yes, it was game 2. That one went the distance. It has to be the same thing, but they don't have the greatest lineup. It's pretty much just Thompson that can do what he's doing. Understanding the role that he needs to play in this game, but top lane shoved out, and that's all they need from Vici Gaming to go high ground.
Let's see how good they are at checking inventories, because BAB just picked up a sheepstick. He is one of the main targets to be able to jump on at the start of these engagements, but if they don't notice that, if they don't use the BKB, not only can the supports get you, but he could just instantly look to Hex and burst you down.
Ana's trying to get close towards the Lincolns. Trying to find that little bit of farm. Now going to show in the lane, and instantly one person in a second will TP down. I want to make sure there is no room for Ana to be able to get towards that next item that could pay dividends, potentially allowing him to get that big ability off in the team fight.
Love this as well from Frisk. He realizes how important Puck is at creating a lot of that havoc to allow Zephyr on his Venomancer to come in, land the Poison Nova, get the latent toxicity off, not go on the greedy route. They're so far ahead that an Aghanim Scepter isn't going to change anything on Vici. They just want setup to be able to pick off Thompson, and until he gets into something like the Aeon Disc, he's going for the Octarine Core instead. He is going to be super vulnerable to getting that pick off from the Yules into the Aether Remnant.
Just a slow B lead. Elimination game, elimination series, and if Vici Gaming don't feel comfortable to go high ground, they'll use this Aegis to continue to grow the net worth lead. 14,000, and it is climbing.
You just saw the pings out on the map as well. That was from XM just saying, hey, he's got a Lincoln Sphere on Ana. They know it. He revealed on the lane. They know the situation that they have to play with now.
How do you defend this? Yeah, Tombstone's going to be forced down. Cuckoo, did it get stolen? Oh no, they stole Tombstone.
They just push on forward. This is how one of the better ways to be able to siege high ground. They can't contest into it.
Double tomb.
Oh boy. Double tomb. Aegis still there for 1.5 minutes. They might even be trying to find a kill onto Ana, but he's going to TP all the way back. Oh, what are you doing, Cuckoo? Last defense coming through from T1, it feels like.
Thompson as well. Oh my lord, almost getting caught. Ana's going to jump into the middle as well.
You can't chrono him. You can't.
Erika's going to be okay. First Fumoi's Sun into the second, and there is someone as well. Cuckoo trying to stand his ground and right click. Might be a dieback coming out. Ana gets a pretty good chrono off to the right side. It's just the Void pummeling into them at the moment because the rest of the team are inside the base. He's got to turn back to try and deal with XM, but kicked up to the sky without a buyback. This might be the end of T1's hopes as Vici Gaming will look for a reset because they see Thompson outside the base. One stun into the damage. He's got a buyback, which he'll use instantly. The Vici Gaming, play it calm, get the resources back up, make sure there is no opportunity for T1 to have a miracle defense.
It doesn't feel like that there is. Zephyr, he's holding on to 3,000 gold as well. But it's not going to be for anything. He doesn't have the damage through from the rest of the team to be able to follow up. They're ignoring the Plague Wards. They know that's not the important thing to deal with. This is the last racks going down here. Mega Creeps about to be enabled for Vici. And they can breathe a sigh of relief. Back off to respect the fact that the Aegis, it's expiring in 15 seconds.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed. First we had SA, then NA, and it might be SEA's last hopes in these last chance qualifiers just going down the drain.
Look at the fake back. Oh, look at the fake
found
back. They see Thompson. He brought back. Oh no, Thompson. Remnant dragged through. He's gone. Same with the rest of the team. Anna's up in 10 without a chrono. But the buildings are falling. They need him out of defense. They won't be able to. The G's are dropped. And Vici Gaming will knock out T1 in the last chance qualifiers. Erica says bye-bye, Cuckoo.
And he just gives it right back to him. Be-bye. And, well, it's a little sad for the SEA fans, for sure, to be able to come through. But what a performance from Vici. They were on the edge of being eliminated in that Game 2 epic. That massive comeback, the buybacks, running into the meat grinder on T1. It was their undoing, and this was just Vici Gaming putting it all together. And a lot of those early rotations, they targeted